Hey everybody, once again I'm in the Fury, and this time, holy fuck, look at that team. This is an occupational hazard of playing a tier 6 tank. Even as a top tier, sometimes you're just going to see teams that you cannot do anything for. This is one of those occasions, and this is what I've been getting in the Fury ever since the video before this one, pretty much. This isn't a bad map for an Easy 8 type tank. If you can remember, my best ever match in the Easy 8 was actually on this exact same map, from this exact same spawn even. However, in that match, I had some decent teammates, including Hardest, to help me out. In this match, there will be no help. If there's one thing you certainly can't accuse the Fury of, it's not looking good. As is normal in a medium, I push up onto the hill here to try and interdict any spotters, be they mediums or lights, and also just to see if I can get angles down into the city when the enemy heavies inevitably push into it. Of course, I am trying to stay on our side of the slope so that I can easily back down into a hull down position if somebody starts pushing on me. Right away, the enemy Fury is spotted in the city. There's a house in my way, so I'm going to have to reposition if I want to get shots on him. I pull back slightly. Still looking for the shots, they're not happening. So I'm going to need to relocate slightly so I can actually draw a line of sight on him. I decide to take the risk and just push right into the middle of the hill. It seems safe enough. And there we go, I got side shots on him. Unfortunately, a bounce and a 0 damage crit to the tracks, and now our Jumbo just drives straight in and keeps driving straight in. So I hit him twice because he just felt like getting up in that guy's face. I mean, probably I shouldn't have tried to take that second shot, but honestly, I just don't care. I get hit by pubbies trying to take stupid shots all the time, so I'm not really too sympathetic when I do it. The enemy Fury asks where the fucking support is. Good question, I'll be asking that one in about a minute. Just watch the bottom right corner above the minimap where the kill messages are. Let's see what happens. We've lost 5 tanks in less than 30 seconds. 6 tanks. My team is just folding in half. We've won the city, but it doesn't really matter because now the enemy control both mid and west. What's worse, the rapidity with which our surrounding tanks just fell apart means I am now stuck on this flank alone with absolutely no support. When I first started coming out here, it looked like I still had some teammates. Not anymore. In fact, this was a winnable fight until this thing rolled up. The SU-100 can wipe out half my hit points in a single shot, which he promptly proceeds to do. And at this angle and in this terrain, I'm going to have difficulty penning him consistently, let alone killing him before he kills me. Now, the SU-100 does have fairly decent DPM. It has a very powerful gun at this tier, and it has good mobility. At the moment, all I can really do is hope to do as much damage as I can before he inevitably crests the hill and murders me. I can't run away, because to run away would expose my back to about 3 or 4 different tanks, including him, so I just have to wait for him to come over and then hope for the best. In fact, he low rolls, so I survive. It's 2 low rolls in a row, but it's just not enough, and by the time he's reloaded again, I've had 2 shots bounce off his armor. There are some things you just cannot win a face-first fight against, even though all those other tanks there were mostly bouncing off of me or missing. The SU-100 has such a powerful gun, it will just punch a hole clean through an Easy 8 from any angle. I wasn't too impressed with my team. Notice where they all died though. If you look, nobody on our team except for me and the guys in the east obviously advanced beyond the bottom of the G line. You cannot ever sit in the back of the fucking map and expect it to work well. You especially cannot sit in J2, K2 and then try and snipe. It doesn't work. You need somebody up front spotting, and you need the rest of your tanks in a position at least on the H and G lines, probably even further up, where they can get shots. But time and time again I see it, pubbies will position their tanks too far away to shoot enemies, where there's either terrain blocking them, other friendly tanks blocking them, or my personal favourite, they're actually outside render distance. They cannot render the enemies that are going to be pushing on them until it's too late. That's what happened, I think. The guys in back just could not render those tanks as they pushed the 3 in front, and they just fell apart. The enemy tank should have been fighting 5 people there, instead they were fighting 2 or 3 at a time with predictable results. It's one of those things that people really should learn when they've been playing this game for even more than a couple hundred battles. Most of these guys are pretty new. Normally I give new players a bit of leeway when it comes to making stupid decisions, but really it seems logical to me that you don't position your tank a hill and several hundred meters too far away to engage the enemy. I mean, those guys in the G line, they were in a passable position at least because you've got camouflage and you can shoot from there and you've got a potential hull down, but the guys in the J and K lines, there's no reason to ever be there. Not unless you're Artie, and even then it's questionable. I still end up pulling a fairly passable amount of damage for a tier 6 match, but at the end of the day, I don't really care how much damage I get. If I'm going to end up having a 40% overall win rate in a tank I do a lot of damage in compared to the average player in it, it's not good. It's not good. This tank is a really fun tank to play. It's a really solid tier 6 medium. I enjoy playing it. I don't enjoy the fact that if I'm solo pubbing, I can't rely on my team. I can't rely on them at all. At least in tier 9, 10 games, I have the hit points and the alpha and the camouflage and the view range. Just the general goodness of tier 9, 10 tanks means that you can make up for a lot of sins in your team. Tier 10 is probably the hardest tier to carry simply because it has the most hit points. The difference between fighting, say, a Tiger 1 in an Easy 8 and fighting an E100 in a T54, it's, you know, one of them has a lot more hit points to play with than the other. But with that said, the lower tiers are just so difficult sometimes because you cannot rely on having even a single teammate that knows what they're doing, and that's why I think low tiers you really do need to platoon if you want to ever win games. High tiers you can get away with solo pubbing if you know what you're doing, but probably between tiers 4 and 6 I'd say, or sorry, 4 and 7 are the areas where you encounter the absolute worst, because below tier 4 it's pretty much easy mode. If you know what you're doing you can take on nearly an entire team yourself, no matter how bad your own team is. Tier 8 and above you usually have at least some decent players that know what they're doing, and your tanks tend to be a bit more flexible. But tiers 5, 6 and 7, if you get stuck with a lemon of a team and you aren't in one of the flavor of the month overpowered tanks, even if you are, you're in trouble. But if you're in, say, the Fury or an Easy 8 or something else that's strong but not Hellcat strong, or not pre-nerf KV1S strong, it can be very, 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 very difficult to try and pull out a win, especially if your team does everything they can to throw. So I do have, I think, 1 or 2 more Fury videos to go up. I can't remember if they were wins or losses. Judging from my Fury experience so far, they were probably losses, where I ended up trying to carry and just couldn't. Hopefully in the not too distant future you'll see some wins in the Fury, some good wins in the Fury. I'm probably not going to be playing it too much outside of a platoon, at least for now. I know it's kind of silly to worry about win rate on a tank that you only have 10-20 games in, but it's just... I know it's statistically insignificant, but it's just demoralizing, which is the main problem. It's enough to get me to sell some tanks, obviously not this, because it's a premium, and what's more, it's a special premium. I can't just go and rebuy on a whim, but I mean, the Black Prince, I sold that because of a bad win rate, even though I went back to actually finish it off doing very, very well in it. Just that first impression of a tank, if it's losing over and over and over again, like the Black Prince, like this, like my IS-4, it just makes me not want to play. Or if I do play, I go to something I know I can win in. I do have enough mental processing capacity to know that it is a statistically insignificant number of matches. I'm also at the level where I know if I just keep playing the way I normally play, I will probably end up with pretty good stats just because I'm a better player than most people in this game. But even knowing, it's difficult to describe the effect. It really is one of those things that, even though you know better, it does hit your morale hard. And so I'm probably going to give the Fury a bit of a break until I can get some more tanks time. Lately I've been actually quite busy. I haven't had a chance to play as much. Most of my play's been on the weekends and confined to pretty much playing high tiers with other goons. Hopefully over the coming month or two I will have a little more free time, and so I will be able to play some more tiers, including tier 6, the Fury, and hopefully I'll be able to pull out a decent win rate from it, and then I'll have the confidence and the motivation to play it a lot more. It is a tank I think I could solo pub in if it just wasn't for having that horrible red 40 hanging over my head every time I go to play it. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for suffering through my little spiel on win rate and morale. Maybe you felt a similar thing. In fact, if you're good at this game, I can almost guarantee you have. Even though we do know better, we sometimes do get a little more affected than by those coloured numbers than we really should. But I suppose at the end of the day, at least we recognise that, unlike pubbies who are just allergic to numbers or any kind of cognitive function actually. Plenty more where this came from. As always, I have no real plans to stop putting up World of Tanks content in the future. I'm kind of reaching the point where commentating them is getting a bit iffy. I think I have enough videos of me in a Centurion on a hull down map now that really it's just not really adding anything to my channel other than whichever specific pubbie I'd like to bitch out that game. So probably in the not too distant future my videos will sort of tend back more towards non-commentated comedy videos like they used to be, and then that of course is contingent upon either YouTube unfucking annotations or better yet me getting hold of some decent editing software, and then the odd commentated video when either a new map comes out or something crazy happens to the pubbie meta or a new tank comes out. Basically just commentary for new content or new theories, and then comedy videos for the rest. But as I did say, thank you for watching. I wish you the best of luck in the field and in your life in general. It's always a good thing to have some luck, and I'll see you next time.